CountryWide Connect with Andy Thompson and Sarah Perriam-Lampp.
Time to talk some sport. We were going to have Graham Beasley on with Dave Worsley, but Wursel, Graham Beasley's on a long lunch, so you're it.
Yeah, and a long lunch with him can be very interesting. I've managed to have, maybe not so much the lunch, but a few after-work drinks, which went a little bit later than you had thought.
Yeah, and he certainly wasn't going to miss it just to come on and talk to you and I. So that was not happening. So you're it. But what I'm very pleased to see about Wursel is you've actually got your camera working today. So
don't talk to me about Zoom trying to upsell you from every single thing possible. But anyway, that's another story. Let's move on with the sport.
Let's move on. Well, there's only one sport topic, as you can see, really, by my attire. Today is the opening day Super Round. But I think what we've kind of forgotten a little bit, Wursel, I'm interested in your thoughts on this, in the actual excitement here in Canterbury with the opening of Takaha, or One New Zealand Stadium at Takaha, as it's called now. There was an interesting Twitter thread about that on my Twitter this morning. But anyway, it's Super Round, which is, I think, the first time we've had one. What do you make of this Super Round concept in New Zealand?
The first time, yeah, in New Zealand. First time in New Zealand. I think it's a good idea that doesn't need to be overdone. A good idea, particularly for Christchurch and for a new stadium. But if we did it too often, every single year at a different place, it's not going to work. We've seen how these games, or these lots of games, can work at various times. However, tell me, who's going to turn up for, let's have a look. Do you think there's a lot of Chiefs supporters and Fijian Drua supporters? Look, I'm sure people want to support good rugby. However, Moana against Highlanders, is that going to be a big seller at, what time's that? 2 o'clock on Sunday in Christchurch? Now, I hope it is. I really do hope they all are big sellers. But, people from Christchurch are primarily the Kingdom of Christchurch only. Forget Auckland, particularly, and some of the other teams. Are they going to be too keen to stick around? Let's see what happens.
So my previous guest just said that she's just flown in from Hamilton and got off a plane with a plane load of Chiefs fans coming in for the weekend. So that's great. What I hope, and I'll be really interested to see if this happens, is that this turns into kind of like a Wellington Sevens party weekend where you're there for the occasion. Who is playing is secondary, right? You just want to see good rugby. Honestly, do I care about Hurricanes playing ACT Brumbies? Would I pay to see that game? No. Would I pay to see the Blues lose to the Queensland Reds? Probably would, actually, to be fair. But you know what I mean? Highlanders, Mana Pacifica, Chiefs versus Drua. It's not, I think it's more the occasion for me. And probably the new stadium opening adds that massive cherry on the top.
I think that adds to the occasion. It's the first time we're going to see this stadium used properly. If it happens all the time at the same place, similar, same, maybe it will lose its effect. But people do want to see the stadium. They want to see it and say, hey, Christchurch, we know you've come a long way, albeit also in town as well. In the central city, there's a lot of good cafes and bars and things happening. It's got a bit of vibrancy back. In fact, it's got vibrancy for the first time. Because in the past, that vibrancy was not vibrant. It was...
Well, it was... Wait, hold on. It was pre-2011, honestly. It was pretty cool.
The strip was not good. The strip was yuck.
How many bars are left open in Ponsonby Road, by the way? Haven't they all shut? Anyway, I digress.
Yes, you do digress.
I do digress. Hey, look, Dave, I guess, coming back to my analogy there with the Wellington Sevens, if it turns into a party weekend like that where the rugby is part of the entertainment as opposed to the whole thing that's going on, there could be a yearly thing, couldn't it?
Let's not get greedy. We have a tendency, and I say that as events around the world, have a tendency to, hey, this worked, let's make more money out of it, and let's do it again, and again, and again, and again, and again. Let's do it every 6 months. Let's do it every 6 weeks. Let's see how it goes for this particular year. And remember, we are there for the opening of the stadium. The stadium is, I guess, like we can all be moths to a light. We're going there for that stadium in particular and some great rugby. Let's not do it to death, because too often we do it to death. Haven't we done that with Super Rugby? We went too popular, too big. Then we didn't actually realize what we were doing, but it was making money. Great, let's do it more. Too often we do that. Let's just do it this year, maybe one other year, whether it's in Christchurch or elsewhere. God, wouldn't it be great if we went to Fiji? Not going to happen, but wouldn't it be great if it did?
The one thing that I've had some comment about, and I have sympathy for this, is the game scheduling. Like Crusaders Waratahs. Wouldn't it be great if it was Crusaders Hurricanes? You know, Blues versus... And why they couldn't have done this, I don't know. Blues versus Highlanders, and then had, you know, Mana Pacifica versus the Drua. You know, like have the matchups.
Stop making sense. I notice also that the games are we've had 7:05 throughout most of the year.
Yeah, 7:35.
Yeah, I'm not totally sure why that's happened as well. So let's not make sense. Let's not use common sense, because if there was a common sense political party, it would never get voted on, would it?
No, it wouldn't. Right, let's change tack here. Oh, by the way, just very quickly, Crusaders Waratahs. Who's going to give me who's winning?
You want me to flick a coin on this one, mate? If I had a coin, I'd flick it on this one, because you just never know.
Okay, Hurricanes, Brumbies.
I'll have to go for the Canes on that one.
Blues, Reds.
Yeah, I'm going Blues. I think they're pretty positive at the moment in the way they're playing.
This is a tough one, isn't it? Highlanders, Mana Pacifica.
Yeah, you kind of feel that Moana are going to get that second win of the year. However, I don't know. I'm going to go for the Highlanders.
Okay, Chiefs, Drua.
Yeah, you have to go for the Chiefs, but Drua will keep them honest, that's for sure.
They are certainly doing that. Right, tomorrow night, I understand, 8:05, Warriors Dolphins in the Cake Tin, an absolute sellout, 35,000. What does that say?
Right. Well, what it says is that they only play in the Cape Tin once a year, and that they're doing very well. They're second. You know, people saying, oh, you know, they're out doing rugby. Well, rugby plays there more often than not. So whereas the Warriors themselves are playing there for the first time since last year and are currently second, or second-ish, you might want to say. I think the Tigers sort of went slightly above them. So that's great. And they're playing positive rugby league. Their losses that they've had have been, well, there was one that wasn't so close, but you know, they've been quite tight, and they're playing a good brand of rugby league, and they've got some people that we want to support, like Leka. He's just great fun. You've got a number of other players. You think, hey, I want to support these guys because I like the way they play. Jackson Ford, number one in tackling, number one in runs, number one in everything. He's just smashing. He doesn't even come off the field. Mitch Barrett was saying, I love this guy because we just keep him on, and he just keeps on playing like he's just running through brick walls. There's something to support, and they're actually publicising those people a little bit as well. So there you go.
All right, mate. Look, it is going to be absolutely fantastic weekend of sport. Dave Worsley, we are going to wrap right now. You can go back to doing whatever Jaffers do on a Friday afternoon in your town where you don't have any stadiums or any teams or anything happening. And Ponsonby Road's got no bars open. They've all shut. You just carry on in your little, poverty-stricken little hole, and we'll just enjoy Canterbury. How's that?
I would say congratulations on getting the stadium up and running, and I think it's going to be fantastic. Let's not overdo it. Let's use it, and let's populate it and have fun using it.
All right, Dave Worsley, appreciate your time, mate. Thank you. And we'll see if we can get Beasley back from his long lunch next week. Although I'm not on next week. I'm heading to Southland going duck shooting. That's a whole other story.
CountryWide Connect with Andy Thompson and Sarah Perriam-Lampp.